So one of the biggest issues I see as a nutritionist is food label literacy. Here's an example of how my babbling tends to be understood. When shopping for peanut butter, look for ones high in vitamin Q and omega-10. So to get your plutonium levels back up, I want you to eat a 7/5 can of unsweetened banana salt, and then half a box of partially hydrogenated Pop-Tart oil thrice daily.
Right, Pop-Tart oil.
So in this video, I'm going to do my best to sort it all out for you. Check the serving size. Make sure it represents an accurate amount of what an average person would actually consume. Read the serving size in grams on the back and then turn it around and then see the total grams on the item. Does it match? Is it reasonable? Frozen pizzas often claim that one serving is a quarter pizza. You're gonna eat the whole thing. Do you know anybody that only eats a quarter of a pizza? I don't either. Kraft Dinner says a serving is a quarter box. No human alive, including 6-year-olds, eats less than half a box. Ingredient order. When you see a comfort food turns into something like quinoa chips or gluten-free cookies, be skeptical. Find out how far down the list of ingredients the advertised ingredient actually lies. Ingredients are listed in order of amount. If your quinoa in your quinoa chips is buried under a mountain of modified cornstarch, enriched wheat flour, and sunflower oil, you've been had. Daily values of micronutrients, aka vitamins and minerals. 5% of daily value is a little, 15% or more is a lot. Here's some micronutrients to look for in high numbers. Vitamin A, vitamin C, iron, calcium, potassium, and fiber, for which you want to get about 30 grams, unless you're like me and high fiber diets cause explosive diarrhea. Values to ignore on the food labels. Fats, saturated fats, cholesterol, and salt. While both saturated fats and cholesterol are bad to have in excess, the link between eating those things and their increased levels in the body is weak at best. Fats you really only want to care about looking at if you're worried about going over your daily calorie target. As for sodium, you need sodium to live. Sodium gets a bad rap for no reason. Eat lots of sodium, especially if you're active. The mistake people make that causes high blood pressure and heart disease is eating loads of sodium without any potassium, sending your electrolyte balance completely out of whack. This imbalance between sodium and potassium, and mostly the lack of potassium, is what causes high blood pressure and heart disease, not salt itself. They give salt licks to animals for a reason. The values to watch out for are omega-6s if indicated, sugars, and trans fat. Go as low as possible on all those things. Bread. Bread is responsible for civilization as we know it. It's also responsible for disparity and poverty as we know it, but that's for another video. Dark brown bread with lots of healthy looking seeds may be a magician's trick. If the first ingredient on the nutrition label does not read whole grain, whole wheat flour, on to the next one. True whole grain bread is higher in fiber and much lower on the glycemic index than refined wheat flour bread. So on the front of the label, don't fall for deceitful terms such as wheat flour, unbleached wheat flour, multigrain, enriched, or stone ground wheat flour. These are all just sneaky ways of saying refined wheat flour. Refined means it's going to jack up your blood sugar levels, triggering fat storage. When reading the carbohydrate section at the back, look for a ratio of at least 15 to 20% fiber. Also look out for breads that add sugar for taste. My overall best pick for bread is sourdough. True sourdough is low gluten and takes 2 days to rise. So look out for fake sourdough breads. Most grocery store chains get their bread shipped in frozen. Now let's move to the front of food package labels. Here are some of the regulated nutrition claims. Source of fiber means the food contains at least 2 grams of fiber. High source of fiber means at least 4 grams, and very high source of fiber means at least 6 grams. Now it's time for the food industry's favorite term, organic. The industry's dirty little secret is that organic crops and livestock are not tested in Canada, making the organic certification essentially meaningless. We actually have no idea what's in the products. The biggest indication that this whole thing is a scam is that most accredited organic certifiers actually collect royalties from the people they certify. If they're collecting 1 to 3% profits on the items that they're certifying, there's no incentive then for them to crack down on anyone who might be breaking the rules. I smell bullshit. Low fat means 3 grams or under, cholesterol free means cholesterol free, and it also means 0 to no trans fats or saturated fats. Sodium free means 5 milligrams of sodium or less. Reduced calories means at least 25% less calories than the food item it's being compared to. Light means foods that are either reduced in calories or fats. Enriched means nutrients have been added to replace the ones that have been lost in the manufacturing process. Fortified means ingredients that have been added by the food manufacturer but wouldn't necessarily otherwise be in that food in any other circumstance. Okay, now let's flip that package around and talk about unregulated and bullshit nutrition claims. All natural. One example is Minute Maid's premium all natural flavors berry punch. While glucose and fructose certainly occur in nature, the chemical conversions of cornstarch aren't exactly natural, made with real fruit. Pretty often, the actual fruit that's found is in very small quantities and isn't even the same kind as the fruit on the package label. Made with whole grains. Lots of products contain whole grains, even though they often have refined flour or sugar as their first few ingredients, and the amount of whole grains is actually very minimal. No hormones or steroids. The federal governments of Canada and the United States have already banned the use of hormones and steroids in chicken, so every chicken processor can use this label claim. It's another meaningless and very deceptive marketing tool. Cage-free. All meat chickens are raised cage-free. That's for egg-laying chickens. Watch out for gluten-free and low-fat processed foods. Gluten-free isn't necessarily a bad idea on its own, but in order to make the foods palatable, food processors often replace the fats in gluten with sugars, artificial sweeteners, additives, and vegetable oils that are often much worse for you than the original versions. Your best bet for eating gluten-free, though, is just eat any whole food that doesn't have wheat. So basically everything found outside the aisles and bread section.
Like and subscribe, you bums.